welcome to Red Bull Gaming Sphere, the lovely people who've let us use this lovely little back room. It's the nicest back room I've ever been in, honestly. So we're here because obviously Split 2 playoffs are just around the corner. You guys had a pretty good result during Split 1, even kind of overcoming having a sub rather than your usual third and things like that. So it's definitely a bit of a journey to get here. So how has your scrim experience been so far? Because I know that obviously there have been a lot of international scrims between the regular Split finishing and now. So both as a team but also as a EMEA region, how do you think you've been performing in these scrims, and how do you think a lot of the other European teams have been performing?
Recently, we haven't really seen much European teams forming. I don't really remember any names out there that have been top 5 recently. However, I would have loved to see them doing well, because we represent Europe.
What do you think about Vexed and their position coming into Split 2? Because obviously they did quite well during the Split 2 regular split. You guys kind of swept it out from them in those regional finals and managed to take the win overall. Do you think that they're going to have a better time at Split 2 compared to Split 1?
Yeah, so Split 1 playoffs, they were still fairly a new team. So, and I believe one or two of their players didn't have LAN experience.
Yeah.
So it does get to you sometimes. Sometimes you just aren't built for that big stage, big lights.
You've got to build up to it, right?
Yeah. You definitely need experience in that field, unless you just naturally where you love it. But some players, they don't really, young players particularly, they don't really have the opportunity to go out and be on a big stage. So I don't know if it was nerves that got to them, but I guess playoffs 1 they didn't do very well. However, I think they're more prepared for Split 2 playoffs. In the regional finals, we sort of did very well. I'd argue that they did even better than us in the regional finals. So in terms of them seeking revenge on us, I don't think that's a thing. I think if they just play the way they did, they'd have a very good results. So they have nothing to worry about. I think they're on the right track, and they're definitely a formidable opponent for going into Split 2 playoffs.
Yeah, good for them. I mean, it's great watching their journey. It definitely had a little bit more of an underdog kind of feel to them during Split 1. So I'm excited to see how it's going to be during Split 2. J-Lings performed quite well in Split 1. Obviously, it's a different team, but you've still got Nargs there with the experience from Split 1. And then JMW, obviously, he's won a LAN. He's won a LAN as a sub. He's definitely got a lot of knowledge. So where do you think they kind of sit in the dynamic ahead of LAN?
I think they're a finals team. I think they can make finals. They have everything that they need. There's no 1 weak player on that team. The dynamic's good. The roles are good. So I think they'll make finals. I don't know how they're going to do in finals. I can't say they're a top 5 team, only because there are just 5 already really good teams that we know a lot of and who have proved from scrim results. Even though scrims don't mean shit. Okay. Yeah. Just saying, we have to go what we have.
Anything can happen at LAN.
We have to go. Anything can happen at LAN. That's right. Even match point, anything can happen. So you never know. J-Lings could be first, but you asked me what my opinion of them was. I think they're definitely a finals team and they have every ingredient to cook.
And Split 1, we were also missing 5 Beavers and Aurora, which at the time of Split 1 were right up then at the top. Not necessarily during Split 2, but I mean, they could throw a spanner in the works maybe, be a little bit more wild card. I mean, I know that 5 Beavers, for example, they can kind of be a bit surprising sometimes and come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
I mean, as Beavers coming out of the woodwork, but yeah.
I caught it.
Pun intended. But yeah, they could kind of come out of the woodwork and cause a few issues. What can you tell us about their playstyle? Because I feel like they don't get as much attention because they're more Eastern European. They're not as kind of present online necessarily for a lot of people. But they're definitely an interesting team, right?
The 5 Beavers and Aurora, even both of them, quite similar playstyles. I think they're very, very strong. I feel like if they will just I feel like if, even with no direction, they could just out-aim everybody. You know, if there was no team plan, it was like, oh, we have to kill this team ahead. Like, okay, we'll get it done. So I feel like they're very strong in that regard. Very good mechanically. And yeah, they've been together for a long time. So
There's definitely a benefit to that.
yeah, 5U is one of those teams where they might just do really, really well.
Another thing that I've noticed in your scrims is a few times you've had contests at Thermal, which seems to be a little bit of a trend with your contests, because I do remember back in Split 1 you had a very long kind of ongoing contest with Flora, which went on for a good 2 days, I think, all the way through groups. And you spent some time contesting LNW, for example, and these other teams. So is contesting and going through these kind of contests in scrims particularly useful, do you think, ahead of these LANs, to give you that extra kind of experience?
Yeah, so contesting in scrims is useful, but it's not useful in the way that you think it is. So generally people think contest for scrims, and then once you contest a LAN, you'll win. But it's not guaranteed, it's not certain. Contesting is more so, because we all know contesting is 50-50. When you do practice contest, you want to get to like 70-30. You know, it can never be like 100 but purple perfected it, because it always comes down to if the opponent just lands on purple armor and a weapon, you dead. But there are small things you can change to make it in your favor. Okay, so in terms of thermal contests, Flora, they did not give up. They wanted the smoke. So we gave them the smoke. So Flora were a challenge, but you know, with all the scrim contests and all the practice we did, we managed to master the most we can do in a contest, and that makes it 70-30. You know? So I believe practice for contest is useful, but it's more so to get teams away from the spot rather than I'm gonna land here, get a gun and fight. It's more so to show that I'm not switching from the spot. So if you're not leaving, I'm gonna fight.
Obviously, we've covered the contests that you had during Split 1, we've covered the contests that you've dealt with during the scrims, but when it kind of gets post-dropping, you're into the game, there are some teams that are kind of new from Split 1, from other regions, that play quite a hard kind of edge style play. The example that comes to mind for me is Furia, which obviously they weren't there during Split 1, but they are notorious for playing quite an aggressive edge game. So do you think that's going to change the dynamics a little bit from last split? Do you think there's going to be a lot more kind of pressure on like the teams from those aggressive edge players?
The same question could be asked about Split 1, but sadly Fury didn't make it. So you never know if they won't. You never know if they'll make it this split. You know. So, but in terms of aggressive edge teams, there are very few of us. Fury is one of them, and I believe we have a similar like playstyle / rotation. We land in the same spot. And we fight edge as well. They're not really a challenge. They're more so a nuisance that we must get rid of because they land in our spots. So we need our spot back. You know. Split 1, they didn't make it. Split 2, they're looking much better in terms of scrim results. So I believe they'll definitely put up a challenge, but I think we'll be all right. You know why? Because there's no team who has ever contested us that's made finals.
True.
So you gotta be very careful. You gotta choose who you pick a fight with. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pick your battles.
Yeah, I do think they will make it because they're actually doing very well, and all of them in the right headspace. All of them are working very hard together.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm excited for that. Going back to the regional finals, it was a bit of a marathon for the regional finals. A good 9 games. And obviously you guys managed to take the match point final. Does this kind of give the team a boost? Because I know there have been a lot of comments that have floated around about how Alliance is so consistent but match point finals are a little bit more difficult sometimes to kind of clutch. Would you agree with that? And do you think that winning that match point final in regionals, the regional finals, is going to actually kind of help you guys in your mentality and your skills?
I think usually the answer would be yes, and obviously the answer would be yes. It gave us a boost, it gave us momentum, it gave us belief. But I think even if we didn't win regional finals, we still believe we would win. It didn't really give us much of a boost. I'd say it just gave us like validation that yes, we can do it. Yes, it's possible.
Like reassurance.
Yeah, like reassurance. Yeah, that's like a reassurance thing. It's not really like a boost. We didn't think we needed to win in order to perform. But when it comes to match point, I believe match point is when the same purpose is, because you have to get to 50 points first and then a win. Yeah. So if a team wins the first 2 games, not on 50 points, and does average in the rest, they don't win. But if a team does average with the whole thing and wins 2 games, they win. So it's more so like the order of winning. If you win later, it's good for you. If you win too early, it's not good.
It's difficult, isn't it, to kind of balance? Is there like a different strategy to approaching those match point finals? Is it kind of a slow and steady type thing, or do you kind of go in quite aggressively from the start and just keep pushing it?
That's a good question. I believe every team has their own methods, but for us, I think we just play it like normal until we get match point. I think most teams actually play like normal. They play how they do play. They do what they know, and until they reach match point, then they might play a little more safe, go to like guard spots, safe spots, end zones, and not really seek out kills because they don't need to. But even so, like some wins on match point, they still have a lot of kills because they just play their game. They do what they know best. They kill a lot of teams. So match point is. It's a little bit lucky.
One thing that Alliance is really well recognised for, which you'll probably identify with, is flexibility regarding the picks. Can we expect kind of Alliance to be one of those teams that decides to play around a little bit with the picks, or have you kind of got a solid idea of what you want to be playing with?
We have a solid idea of what we're going to be playing with for LAN. However, before LAN, these scrims, we're probably the team that's gone through most legends.
It's respectable. I like it. I like it when like teams can play around a bit more.
Yeah, it has to be done. It has to be experimented with. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket. In case something, for example, if there's a sudden update that comes out and everyone needs to change legends, we have to be ready. So I think with the time, it's completely fine to try out different legends. However, on LAN, you can't be switching around as much because it's like sometimes you're not used to it. Probably takes like 1 day or maybe 1 game to get used to it, and that could be the learning game. So you can't afford to switch around too much at LAN. That's why we've been switching so much in scrims.
Yeah.
We've been trying everything, and being an edge team, we get to experiment a little bit more.
So shifting from kind of the scrims and, well, not quite shifting from scrims, but shifting from the EMEA region a little bit. The APAC North and South teams have been starting to show up, I feel, a little bit more. They've had some really interesting games during scrims, and they might not have been at the top during Split 1, but there were definitely some notable performances. In APAC South, MDY White have qualified for the first time for LAN. So there's, a few new teams coming in, and obviously you've got the classic kind of Fnatic, Crazy Raccoon, Northception, all that sort of thing. Do you think that they're going to show up a little bit more during Split 2? I mean, Split 1, new kind of LAN, new place, and, a lot of young teams. Maybe with Split 2, they have a bit more time to kind of settle into it. So do you think APAC North and South will show up?
So APAC North and South have never really showed up before. But I really believe this split, I think they'll show up. Because in scrims, they've been doing well. You also remember Dreamfire? They could potentially have their full roster now, which has never happened before. So I think the eastern side of the world will spice things up this LAN for sure. Yeah, Moist and Onyx as well, not too far behind Moist as well. I think most of the teams who are in this playoffs have actually worked very hard for it, very well, deserve to be there. So it's going to be very interesting to see who can win. I think a lot of teams can win in this one.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. All the young players are coming out now, all of them are experienced, they're ready.
I mean, talking about younger players, isn't your third Effect?
Yeah.
He's quite young as well, isn't he?
He just turned 18.
Really?
Just turned 18.
Nice.
So,
yeah. So he obviously wasn't at the last LAN. You had Mandy fill in, which gave us some great moments. Like, we can't lie, like King Mandy standing up on the desk, things like that. It was fantastic. But I think a lot of people are really excited to see what Effect is going to do at a LAN. Because, like, young talent is exciting. I mean, going back to Split 1, you had Zayn, who I think literally just turned 18 at the time, pulling off like a 3v1 and, you know, becoming like the star of the show for one of the days. So how do you think he's going to do? It's quite a lot, especially for a young player.
There's something special about young players. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I just feel like the younger you are, 18, prime age to just learn everything. It's like you absorb knowledge so easily, you know? It's like you absorb skills so quick. You learn new languages quick. You learn new game tools quick. You learn instruments quick, you know? And that's the advantage of being so young, is that you learn things quicker, right? And the older people are, just me and Agus. We have experience. We know how to. We know most things about what goes on. We can maintain that skill very well. But the younger you are, you absorb quicker. The older you are, you master what you have. You know. So with Effect, I think he brings like a spin to the team. He brings like the juice, the ingredients. You know, when you sprinkle some like special powder into it. Yeah.
A little bit of MSG.
Yeah, he brings that to the team. So that's why it's exciting to play with him. He's always making some plays we've never seen before. You know, he's always like doing some things that are just not what he's supposed to do, but it works out for him because he's Effect. You know, so he'd go in and just like, me and Hackers would be like holding up a fort, and he'd just be like, hey guys, I killed the whole team here, don't worry about it. It's like, alright then. Even though Effect does make mistakes, as we all do, sometimes just like go make them, you know. Sometimes me and Hackers just like, go ahead, go make them, limit test yourself, see where you're at. And that way, it makes him a better player. You can't hold a boy like Effect on a leash. You gotta just let him go, you know?
Let him do their thing.
Yeah, you have to let him do their thing. You definitely need a ballsy player on our team, for sure. If everyone's safe and everyone's like together, it doesn't work that much. You need one player who just like believes he can just take on the world. And I'm sure individually we all do, but Effect literally just does not care. He just goes in, just really tries to make the play. So that's why it's good. It's great. So if it's a good play, you know, we'll follow up perfectly and we'll win the game. But I think I'd rather choose a player who's more ambitious and risk-taking than a player who's safe.
Bringing it back to the EMEA region, one thing that you've probably noticed as well as me is the UK has like the largest representation in EMEA in terms of players. They, you know, take up I think 18% of the players in the EMEA region for Apex, but the UK isn't really recognised as like a hub for Apex Legends, or, you know, a place to be for Apex. I think the focus for a long time has been shifted to North America, which is a little bit of a shame because there's so much international talent. So what do you think needs to happen to kind of get that recognition for the UK as a good hub for player talent in Apex? Because it should, in my opinion.
Sorry.
Get some energy before that one.
So I was thinking about this question, and I really thought hard. This is the question I was a little bit stuck at, and I really thought hard about it. And I think I came to the conclusion why the UK does not succeed as much, and what could we possibly do for it to gain recognition, is for it to have bigger streamers. I think UK streamers, we do have streamers, right? But in terms of big UK Apex streamers, we only have Shiv, and he doesn't even play pro, he plays content, right? So it's very hard for organizations and third-party organizations to host UK events or UK-based events or even European events when we don't have the audience to help them with, you know. So in every organization, in every tournament, when somebody hosts, they hope to get at least some noise or at least some recognition in return. And it's very hard to host when not many UK streamers stream and have a big audience.
Yeah.
So there's an unfair exchange of value there. That's why I think UK players will struggle a little bit more, but that's all down to themselves.
Visibility. Do you think that having LAN in the UK might help with that, or incentivize some of those players to kind of be a little bit more out there, kind of in the scene?
I think so, you know. I think definitely. I don't think it'll bring in as much viewers because most of the viewerships are from Asia and America, I think. Actually, I forgot to mention, on top of what I was saying earlier, one of the biggest reasons why UK or Europe doesn't have much representation is the language barriers.
Yeah.
Because you have to include, like, you know, French, Germany, Spain, Russia, and a lot of the players, even casual players, you know, they don't speak English, or like we don't speak their language, and therefore it's very hard to get everyone together in that sense.
So my final question to you is, obviously TSM are returning to try and defend their title as technically kind of, well, they were the best in the world at that point, kind of.
Yeah.
Again, match point, it makes it a little bit more debatable, but they did very well. At least definitely in the final they did. So do you think they had a little bit of a tougher time during split 2, like in the regular split? They have done well, a lot better in scrims. Do you think they're going to be just as formidable this time round, or do you think these teams coming with their full rosters this time, with their aggressive play styles, is going to possibly knock them down a little bit?
Well, I think every single team in the world, not in the world, in APEC, in the world of Apex at least, who have won like a big tournament, they always have a little dip after. And I think they've 100% got past that dip now. Now they're back to 100% dangerous TSM, you know. But we always believed they'll get out of that dip. We never doubted them, you know. So I think TSM is definitely a potential winner for the LAN.
Hope not to get in a 1v1 again with Mr.
I hope
CEO.
I hope to get in again.
You want to get it again?
I want to
Go
get it
for
again.
it. Rematch.
I want to do it back to back.
What can you do? It's a 1v1! It's a 1v1! Oh, what is he gonna do? He needs to finish up. He wants to get the KP. He wants to get the shields up real quick. He gets the shields up. In the 1v1, he takes a little bit of damage. He's playing off the fence line. He's got that natural cover, and he's looking to engage. Hal versus Yuki. It all comes down to this. For 3 KP and 3 more placement points. It's the CEO versus the model. Yuki's an absolute monster, but Hal's better. He's gonna fry, doesn't take any damage. Hal is perfect, but Yuki turns it around. No way. Finish the shots, no. Yuki playing the knockdown, and Hal's gonna melt him again. Oh, he's playing him. He punches him away. He gets the extra space. He punches him again. Don't get out. You just need the fist. He's playing with his food, Vicky. He's playing with his food. He's won. But he's 1 HP. No! He's out of ammo. Was he out of ammo? Oh my God! Are you kidding me? Yuki clinches up against Hal in a 1v1. How did he do that? What did we just see?
The first one was a little bit ambiguous. You know, a lot of people were saying
it was a very strange situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like cat and mouse for like what seemed like forever.
Yeah, the first one was too unclear because, you know, you got half people saying, yeah, Hal had no bullets. You got half people saying, like, yeah, no, well, that's his own problem, you know. So it's I want like a cleaner one. A cleaner 1v1.
Proper face up. Take his title. Got a new CEO.
Well, you know, playing games, you live for these moments. You know, I'd love to have more of these moments.
Oh yeah.
At LAN 1v1, whoever wins decides to take that game. It's crazy. You know?
Yeah.
That's what we play for. Those small moments.
That was a highlight moment.
Yeah, I loved it.
Sure.
And,
it was fantastic.
I remember after that, when I was cheering with Haggis and Monday, it was like I was like shaking basically. Like the blood goes through you a lot. It's really high adrenaline. So people can't see that. You know, people just think, oh, he's playing 1v1, but like your mouse is like shaking 1v1 because we needed to win that in order to qual. So it was a very big moment for me, definitely, and I want to see it again next LAN.
Hell yeah! I hope we do.
Yeah,
I really hope we do.
I love clutch plays. They're the best. I feel like everyone, they come with 4 rosters. It's going to be the best LAN ever.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much as well.
And yeah, you've been fantastic.
Likewise.
Your
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna Oh, I'm gonna kill myself for the next week editing this.